studio down the hall? This is going to be fun. We're going to get to know everybody by name. Apple, hi, I'm Steve. Ellen's nodding. I think that means hello, all you people in Facebook land. Yeah. Good morning. Individual welcomes to everybody. I found this nugget of a song that I'll start out with. I was talking to Reverend Linda a few weeks ago, and we were thinking about welcome songs, and this one popped into my brain because it's, I don't think I've played it since I was yay high or whatever they say. Well, since John Denver was playing it, so. Welcome to our morning, welcome to our day. We're the ones responsible, we made it just this way. To make ourselves some pictures, see what they might bring. I think we made it perfectly, I wouldn't change a thing. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. Welcome to the happiness, you know it makes me smile. Pleases me to be with you just a little while we open up the spaces and try to break some chains. If the truth is told, they may never come again. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. Welcome to the evening, the closing of the day. We could try 1,000,000,000 times, never find a better way to tell you that I love you, and all the songs I play are to thank you for allowing me inside this lovely day. Welcome to the morning, welcome to our day. We're the ones responsible, we made it just this way. To make ourselves some pictures, see what they might bring. Think we made it perfectly, wouldn't change a thing. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la, la la la. Welcome to the morning. Good morning. Is that a fun one for the morning?
We're going to have a concert next weekend. Guess who's singing? Steve Mason's going to be here. We could just hold him over until the weekend, but we'll let him go home, do a little work, and then come back. Saturday, November 12th, 6 o'clock, here in the sanctuary. Not going to Zoom it. We want you here. And Steve's music is always inspirational, transformational, and more than that, thought-provoking. It takes you deep, and it raises you high. And he's just one of our greatest gifts. So thank you. And 6 o'clock next Saturday. Anything you want to say about it?
I'm honored. It'll be a blast. We'll have a great time.
Y'all come. Y'all in the sanctuary, and then a whole bunch more people who are online this morning. We have tickets for you. Tickets are reasonable. They're whatever you can give, and be as generous as you always are. Good morning, everybody. Here in the Skagit Valley, I don't know where you are. On my way this morning, I saw a field plus of snow geese. I saw a huge expanse of trumpeter swans. And then right there, just to set it off a little bit, was a bald eagle, a huge eagle with the whitest tail I've seen in a long time. And I thought, this is where I live. I am so blessed to live here. And our good fortune is that through the weather of this last few days, at our house, we retained our power, which I felt a great blessing to have heat and light and whatever else. Miss Sky, our youth education leader, is out today. They haven't had water or power for whenever the big wind hit and the power went down. So they're waiting for power. And she contacted everyone, I think, to let them know that our youth education area would not be available for our children this morning. But if any of you feel the great deep desire to go in and play in the youth education area, please avail yourself of the blessing of that place. Each Sunday morning we say we welcome you in the warm and loving spirit of unity. I've thought about many other things we could say for that introduction, that is that moment of connection when we say, okay, we're connected wherever you are. If you're online, we're connected, we're at one with you. If you're watching this on Tuesday or next Thursday or whenever the case may be, we're connected with you in that warm and loving spirit of unity. And here in the sanctuary, we're always connected. And I said to a couple of people this morning, I know you think that on Sunday morning, we just kind of close the doors and go home and it's over. But honestly, truly, from my heart, I think of you. You show up in my mind right there in front of me. And for the last couple of days, I've thought of a couple of people I hadn't seen for a little while. And they're both here this morning. And I thought, I don't know whether it's my magic or whether it's theirs, but here it happens. So whether you're here in the sanctuary or far, 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 or far, far away, you're in our minds and on our hearts. And we're always with you in prayer. So if you have a prayer need, please submit a prayer request in our prayer box this morning, or send through the internet, info@unitysv.org, and we'll get your prayer request. And we will pray with you for as long as we can, in the knowing that you're already whole and that your need is already met, whatever it might be. The weather's shifting, life is changing, time changed. If you know what time it is, I'm really happy for you. Daylight savings time. I wake up probably about 20 times in the night. thinking, did I oversleep? Did I oversleep? Is it time? No, it's 1 o'clock. No, is it time? Is it time? No, it's 3 o'clock. So I'm happy to be here on time. And on time is wherever we are, whenever we get there. So bless you. Thank you for being here this morning. And know that when we're together, we're all stronger. That means something to me. When we're together, I'm always better. I always am better when we're together. It connects the dots in my life. And sometimes there are long spaces in those dots. But when we're together, it all connects up. It all makes sense. And I become stronger both in my practice, in my observance of the awareness that there is one presence and one power, God the good, omnipotent, active in our lives, active everywhere, present in this strange world that we inhabit, active in our bodies, in our minds, in the reality of our life experiences. There is but one presence and one power. There is but one presence and one power in my life. One central source of all wisdom, present here, present now, and always. And so it is. Our daily word today is balance. I honor life's shifting rhythms. You have a microphone. It's Heather's Day for balance. Let there be balance.
We won't say anything about that.
No, we won't.
Where's the big one?
The
Hi,
big daily
everybody.
word? I don't know.
Hi, everybody. Actually, I am Beth. I was Valerie last week.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
recovering
yeah.
from knee surgery. Today, I'm Beth because she had a grandkid something. And I'll see you again on the 27th as Heather. So, balance. I had to tell you that because I'm feeling like a real regular. I honor life's shifting rhythms. Sometimes trying to balance my schedule to meet my obligations and even find time for the things I enjoy can leave me scrambling to figure out how to do it all, how to fit it all in. Today, I take my cue from nature and notice the rhythm of the seasons and the tides, the cycles of growth, and the order that underlies all things. I appreciate how seamlessly the natural world balances itself and restores itself to harmony. This gift of harmony and balance lives in me. I honor myself when I flow with it instead of forcing my will upon it. I listen to my body's many signals. I rest when I'm tired, eat when I'm hungry, and socialize and seek solitude as I need to. As I care for myself, I find balance. For there is nothing better for people under the sun than to eat and drink and enjoy themselves. Ecclesiastes 8:15. I did it.
You did do it.
I want to say something very quickly.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
loved your point about connecting the dots.
Yeah.
That really resonates. Being here connects my dots with my
Yeah.
spirit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. It just came over me. I never have a thought of my own. They just show up in my brain. It's an amazing thing. I don't know where the large daily word goes. It's apparently one of those prized possessions in our ministry that gives blessing to many. Did I mention that we're having a concert next Saturday? Should I mention it again, that Steve Mason's going to be here doing a concert next Saturday? Please be here. Please come. It'll be a wonderful evening, and your family's going to be here. So you get to meet the wife and the beautiful daughter and other friends. You have friends? Two friends, yeah. I just thought I'd check. I thought we were the only people that loved you as much as we do. Mm. What? Oh, food. Oh, new incentive. Bring an appetizer to share. Yeah, what a good idea. Perfect. All right. Where we live, if you've never been here, is on a very busy street in Mount Vernon, Washington. And down at the end of our block is a restaurant, a gathering place called Katz, Katts. And I understand that the food is great, and I haven't ever been there. But Kat, the woman who owns the restaurant, is a powerhouse. She's a spark plug, and she gets things done in the neighborhood in cooperation, although she didn't mean to, with our vision for this year and the upcoming years, which is to restore and renew our neighborhood, which has needed some restoration. So she's sponsoring a winter clothing drive, let me read her words. Boy, oh boy, winter weather is coming fast. Katz invites anyone who would like to help out on November 20th to bring your items to donate to keep those houseless folks staying alive during the cold. We'll set up about 11 with items for people to come and pick up what they need. Currently, we are in need of all cold weather clothing, Mylar emergency blankets, sleeping bags, foot fungal cream, tooth pain gel, tarps, flashlights, warm socks, boots, hats, gloves, and so much more. We'll be gathering these items in the church foyer until the 20th. So we'll gather, and that's only 2 Sundays away. So, and there's not generally anyone here during the week. So that's a whole lot of things that can make a difference for people. One of a thing is a nice gesture. 2 of a thing, 3 of a thing, 5 of a thing. If you specialize in what you think would make a difference, would be really beneficial, or maybe you have things that have been sitting around long enough. At about 1 to 2, we'll go right into our final weeding. The west side of 2022. Anyone that would like to help, I'm gladly accepting help. We've done pretty good keeping the main street cleaned up and looking great, so one more time before winter sets in will help when spring comes. Any questions, feel free to contact me here or at Katz. What I'm going to recommend is that we put these on the front door, Jerry. They're already there. What's the point, I tell you? Ask. So, if you were going to be cold and houseless this winter, what would you most respond to? If you can provide those things, please do that. I love that she included personal things that really are important, like fungal cream and tooth gel and those sorts of items. On Tuesday, we have a board meeting at 5:30. We had decided it would be a hybrid meeting this time, Zoom or here in the sanctuary if people wanted to be here. If you cannot be here, if you're a board member or want to attend the board meeting, I say hooray, you need to be here. That's a great thing. And if we can do it in the sanctuary, that would be wonderful. And if it seems as though doing it from home on Zoom would be better, let Jerry know that so he knows that we're coming or not coming. Got it? Okay. Anything else about that? No. Okay. Anything else? The kitchen crew. The kitchen crew smiles and does such a wonderful job. Whoever helps Gail in the kitchen, thank you. Last week was potluck. We had a lot of food, did we not? We did. We had so much food. Helping hands make happy work. Is that what we say? So if you can help in the kitchen and make coffee, do whatever on Sundays when we're not having a big meal, anything, ask Gail, because she is our superior leader at this point in time. It takes a lot of courage to take on the kitchen. I'm not kidding. For somebody to take on the kitchen, I mean, just ask yourself right now, am I willing to take on the kitchen? If you, it takes courage and energy, and she's the last one in the building frequently when all the rest of us are slipping out the door in all directions. So help in the kitchen. It's part of what connects the dots here. So thank you, Gail, always. Take a breath. Yes, ma'am.
There are some serving dishes in the back.
Oh, we still have some orphan dishes.
Orphan dishes, they're on the lower shelf of that nice
Okay.
black cabinet.
Please.
You know by now, even if maybe you didn't, it's here.
Oh, Gail's saying it's your perfect opportunity. You might not have brought it, but you might like to have it. So there, I know you're online and it's going to be hard for you to get here to do that. We'll save them until next week. Yeah.
Really nice pie dish.
Oh, there's a good pie dish there. Okay. All righty. Here we go, friends. It's kind of a strange Sunday morning, actually. It was strange from the moment it began, and I'm so happy that we have friends here. Friends from the island, friends from Sidrawoolley, friends from up on that mountain where you live, friends from out on the farm, friends from Shelter Bay, friends from Everett. Do you live in Everett? Yeah. Friends from the other island, Camino. I don't know. Ellen lives out in the wilderness somewhere. Jerry doesn't know where he lives anymore. He thinks part of him remains in Mexico and part of him has come home. Claudia lives everywhere. I'm telling you, you just ask Claudia, where are you? It's like it could be anywhere at any point in time. I love it. I love that we're a community of places and things and interests and desires. How about a little time to be quiet with each other? I've been thinking a lot about quiet as the days have changed and the darkness comes early, and now I don't know when the darkness comes. Now that we changed the time again, it keeps us on our toes. We learn to move with the change and with the rhythm and the harmony of these changes. We learn to adapt in ways that sometimes are uncomfortable, but yet part of what it means to be you and what it means to be me in this glorious world. On occasion, we think that things were better when, but the only time things are better is now. In the now moment, there is a perfection. There is a rhythm, a harmony, and order. And even when we cannot see it or don't know how to receive it, nonetheless, we call it perfect right and perfect divine order. It doesn't always show up according to our plan. But in the midst of all things, we continue to say, I can find good in this. There's opportunity and possibility in this. I can look for the light in the midst of the shadows, and I can be inspired in new and different ways. One gift after another. This is the flowing forth of life. One gift after another. When I see life from that perspective, it changes my vision, the way I see the world. In this moment, focusing on the gift of our breath, and being slightly amazed at the way our body functions inwardly and outwardly. What an amazing thing. It's always doing something unpredictable, something we don't control, but always experience. The life force of the body, that around which the body in the physical is housed, is a magical, mysterious, mystical place. This, the inner world, this, the center of all life, flowing here in your midst and mine, in perfect order. The power of life, the gift, the blessing, the wonder of life. As we open ourselves, that opening of the heart and the opening of the center of our body and being, the core, We focus on the presence of the life force that's moving constantly, unfailingly. What does it look like? We say, well, it's the presence of life, visible yet invisible here, in the midst of me moving, in every tiny cell and particle and space. It's pure wonder, this life force. And when you witness, when you can be in the awareness of it, you can feel the vibration increase in your hands and in your feet and down through the center core of your being. This life force in me is light and love and the very perfect order that fills all of life at once. I pulsate with life, and I am impulsed by the life force flowing in and through me now. I allow the movement of that life force energy to wash through me, clearing, releasing, freeing. And at the same time filling and infilling and overflowing my being. I can feel the subtle energy of it. I can touch into it and feel the presence of life from the inside out. Harmonizing, releasing, freeing, overflowing. Every cell, every atom, all the space between. It flows up and out and in and down and through and all around. And you're bathed, you're immersed in the power of this life force energy. It's moving without force or effort. And it's unfailing. And in that movement, in that constancy, is the renewal of your being, the restoration of your mind, and a sense of, I'm here. I'm here not just as a body, not just as a mind. I'm here. I am this life force in expression. And I am whole and perfect. Here and now, I accept the gift of God's perfection at work within my being. And I am carried to new and higher arenas of well-being. In love and with gratitude, I give thanks. I say, fill me to overflowing, loving spirit with your undifferentiated life force. And I am your grateful expression. And so with a breath, it is so. It really is so. And so we say, Amen.
Your meditations just, it's all I can do to keep playing. I'm just like, drifting off and loving it. So, as usual, all I had to go on was what Linda said the title of her talk is. And sometimes, Reverend Linda, I don't know if you noticed this, she doesn't stick with the title. But the cool thing is it's an exercise in faith and trust, right? So I wrote this song with John Gebhardt, a friend of mine, 15, 18 years ago. Thinking about my kids, and telling Ellen earlier, this always makes me think this is the season of gratitude, right? I like thinking of it that way. And this was one of those grateful moments that I was able to sit down and write something. So, where you been? Where you been? Playing in the field, my kids dressed in smiles, hanging on to all that joy just a little while, running with them, kicking a red ball a country mile. Well, it makes this life worthwhile. Sitting around the fire, friends around the flame, love surrounds a campsite, playing late night games, retelling silly stories, people laughing just the same. And we stumble on this timeless refrain: you can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. The sweetest things in this life are your soul's best friend. And if you let that all inside, you won't regret it in the end. You can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. Well, my mom had quite a smile, and Dad a piggy grin. Their brightest little star, though it started to dim. Well, it wasn't what they dreamed of, but they still live within, and they color all the places that I've been. No, you can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. You know, the saddest things in this life, they'll come back again. But don't you lock them up inside, or you'll regret that in the end. You can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. Where you've been. You can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. You know you'll never put your foot into the same stream again. And if you let that all inside, you won't regret it, all my friends. You can't be who you be tell you been? Where you been? Where you been? Did we choose the right one?
It's a good one. They're always the right ones. Why would I choose this title? My age is none of my business. We have a cough drop in my mouth. Ooh, sorry. Nope. Having inhaled one of those one Sunday morning, I carried on. No one knew but me. It was one of those moments when you go, and carry on. But not good. Charles Fillmore. No, why am I doing this? Wait, let's start there. Eric Butterworth was the one. Eric Butterworth, famous unity minister, profound speaker, teacher, writer of some of Unity's best material ever. Eric Butterworth did a daily or at least weekly radio show. He lived in New York City. He broadcast and did his Sundays from Radio City Music Hall. It was huge, 2,000 folks on a Sunday morning. And he, in one of his books called Life is for Living, wrote these words, "My age is none of my business." And it's an intriguing concept. And you think, well, yeah, okay, yeah. And I'm not in a place where I want to be cheerleading these ideas this morning. Like, oh, let's just get on this bandwagon, everybody. I want to explore it a little bit. I want to look at this thing about age and whether or not it's our business. And by business, I mean, is it our work? Is this aging thing, has it become our work? Our one focus, our one point of reference, like, I'm in the aging business. I have another few days here, I'm in the aging business, as though we could make money from the idea of that. This is something else that really is present in my life and in the lives of so many people I know. This issue of what about my body and what about my mind and what about my life and what about my future and what about it? And it's not as easy, I think, as just a simple affirmation to be applied every day. My age is none of my business. It's an exploration into who are we really? What is our identity? What's the truth? No matter what condition the house is in, what's the truth of the inhabitant? What's the reality of our beingness? Because if we can't see it from that perspective, then all of the external conditions of this place in which we dwell, called our body home, our human home, becomes all-consuming. And every day we just get older and smaller. mentally and physically when that becomes our business. I'm not in that business. I'm in the life is for living business. And somehow those two things don't always match up. So this week at my house, the dog had a major episode and spent time at the vet on like 3 occasions in the last couple of weeks and this week. Kay spent an entire night in the emergency room from 5 o'clock in the afternoon until we were there until 4 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday morning. So that was Tuesday night. I had the treatment for my arthritis, my severe arthritis, on Thursday, and for some reason the medication has been creating severe reactions. So I have these huge reactions 15 minutes into the infusion, and then it makes me afterward really sick for a while. And then, and I'm tired of it. Not just that those things are happening. I'm tired of dwelling in that state of mind that goes with the experience of the body. Because the experience of the state of mind just spins down to a level where you can't see around all of that until you get hold of yourself, if you will, and make a decision to shift gears. And I know that there are times when that's possible and times when it seems impossible. But the truth doesn't change. The reality of our being doesn't change. The absolute essential element of that which can be does not change. This changes, this changes, this changes. Whatever is going on at that level becomes so dominant that all these years of study and reading and doing the work become really totally enmeshed in conditionality. And one of the great things about the early Unity teachers, and certainly individuals who study Christian Science and other people who have studied great teachings of truth down through time, they tell us, they teach us, and they were able to show us that we are not our bodies. We have one. We need to appreciate it and live as the fullest expression we can. But that's not what's true about us. And if that becomes the only truth, then it takes us into the fear and the smallness of thought and the loss of identity as I am the resident who rents this space for a little while. But I am not the space in which I live. Yeah, the body will come, the body will go. The body came, obviously we're here. The body will go. They tell us that. Everybody tells us that. Very few people have lived forever, and at this point, I don't really see the value in that. Charles Fillmore believed in regeneration, that through our minds and through our spiritual practice, we could regenerate the body, that the body could come into a new state of enlivenment and a new state of embodiment, literally within the body itself. Myrtle Fillmore proved it, the co-founders of Unity. She proved it through her own healing experience. Charles Fillmore, age 94, bounced out of bed one morning singing these words, "I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm, and I spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me." 94, first thing in the morning. What's the first thought you have in the morning? Can I breathe? Can I move? Am I here? Age 94, woke up into it. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. Now at that point, we know he was nearing his end time in the body, in the house he'd been living in. But he didn't stop being alive in the experience of it. And so is it possible for us, even as we're going through these times and these changes, to be alive in the experience that we're having in the here and now? Here's a sweet story that I've had. I can't tell you how many. They give me an extra hour. How do I spend it? Looking for a story. I got it. I thought, oh, I don't know if that's appropriate for, and then I thought, you just look for that story for 2 hours. Go for it. She was 92 years old, petite, poised, and proud. Her hair fashionably coiffed, even though she was legally blind. And on this day, she was moving to a nursing home. Her husband of 70 years had recently died, making this move necessary. As she waited patiently in the nursing home lobby, an aide approached her and began to describe the room that was going to be her home for the rest of her life. "I love it," she said enthusiastically. "But wait, Mrs. Jones, you haven't even seen it yet." "That doesn't have anything to do with it," she replied. I love that line. That doesn't have anything to do with it. Happiness is something you decide on ahead of time. And whether I like my room doesn't depend on how the furniture is arranged. It's how my mind is arranged. And I've already decided to love it. It's a decision I make every morning when I wake up. I have a choice. I can spend the day in bed recounting the difficulty with parts of my body that no longer work, or I can get out of bed and be grateful for the parts that do. I love it. Each day is a gift, she said, and as long as my eyes are open, I will focus on the new day and all of the memories that I have. Old age is like a bank account. You withdraw from it what you've already put into it. At 92, approaching the end of her life, she chose to spend her remaining days in a spirit of gratitude for the full life she had led. She was sharing her gifts of wisdom and enthusiasm with the nursing home staff and had made up her mind to do so for the rest of her life. There's an alternative. There's an alternative thought available, an alternative choice. In every experience, there's an alternative choice. And the choice is, am I going to let the outer condition of the experience of life determine who I will be in this moment in time? And we do. And I'm not of a mind to pretend that the things that are going on with us are not going on with us. I don't like that kind of cheerleady metaphysical approach to things. It doesn't work for me. I don't like it for myself. It's like, no, let me be honest about where I really am in this moment in time. And then let me explore that to see if that's where I want to be. Is that where I want to stay? Is that the decision I want to make? Is that the choice I want to have? Is that what I want to dominate? Is that what I want to be my business right now? And can I change that? And sometimes it takes a while to get to the point where I realize I still have that choice. That it doesn't show up instantaneously. But it shows up fairly quickly when I can hear the story and be tired of it before I tell it. Isn't it true? Even to myself, I've told the story enough that something else is wanting to arise, something else is wanting to presence itself in that moment in the midst of the experience. And it is, yeah, there's all this, and it's written here, and the diagnosis is there, and the numbers are there, and all the stuff is there, and there, and there, and there. And I've got 22 sheets of paper of notes, of doctor's notes, and they're all there, and they say this, and they say that, and they say this, and they say that. Am I that? There's a question behind it. Am I that? No, what am I? I'm a witness. I'm a witness in that moment. And the more it runs me, and it does on occasion, the more shut down and small I feel. I start giving over to the helplessness of it all, or the overwhelm of it, whatever that might be, and then I'm just turning the screw down on the flow. That's why he calls it in the flow of life. That the essential need is to understand that we live in a flow of life that's unstoppable. It doesn't have a beginning and an end. The body, you know how it is with the body. Bodies do what bodies do. And sometimes that's really serious business. I mean, I've lived with a really serious business of it. But, comma, and, comma, there's so much more to the story. Who are we being called to be in the state where we find ourselves? Who are we being called to be in that state? Because the more it narrows and shuts and constricts that flow, tightening that screw on the life force, the more we respond to life by saying, I can't. Oh, I can't. Or it's not possible. Or you know, I just need to get safe. But in that there is a loss of something. And that's the vitality that this experience of what they call the third stage. But you know, people don't want to get old when they're 19. By the time we're 30 these days, you've had facial surgery. And everything lifted and put new, you know. No, not you. And not me. But I'll tell you, I worked really hard to be viable in that realm of agelessness for a long time. It's a journey. And it's a spiritual journey now, for those of us who choose it to be that. It's a spiritual journey, and it has all kinds of facets and defines itself in all these ways to be on this spiritual journeying at this phase of our lives. And a lot of people don't want it or have given up on it or aren't invested. But what else is there really at this point except our inner investigation, our inward journeying? Because that's where we start to bring up the richness. I was reading poetry this morning and being so grateful for the words of people who write and how alive they are and the meaning of that. And then I already told you, driving here, swans and snow geese and the eagle, and it was like, well, could you want for more? And then someone else says, but I can't even drive. And then you say, well, what is it that could feed you and nourish you inwardly in this moment in time? Because if we don't, then it just all starts to, no, there are things you can't do, or there are things you choose not to do, or there are things you can do. And then there's always a choice about what else is emerging. So Eric Butterworth, in his words, it's not the number of years we live, but the quality of life that's important. Eternal life doesn't wear endless length, but limitless depth. Eternal life does not wear endless length, but limitless depth. We have made too much of age and death and not enough of life. You may not be able to change the fact that you're 75 years of age, but you can know the truth that you are one with the life of God, which knows no age, no limitation, no deterioration. You can know, I can explore that I'm one with God, which knows no age, no limitation, and no deterioration. Am I only going to base that on some place here that hurts? Or am I gonna go deeper into what that means? Age is none of my business. Life cannot grow old. We may insist that our strength does diminish and our abilities decline, and that even our health becomes less stable with advancing years. And certainly we must admit that this is all too often our experience. But this is not God's will. The whole universe is on your side, he said. Life is forever biased on the side of healing, on the side of overcoming, on the side of success. When you get yourself centered in the universal flow, you become synchronized with this divine bias for good. So they've recently been writing articles about positive aging. And if you read what they're writing, they're talking about positive spirituality. They're really shifting people's focus or point of focus into the journey itself and the way in which that is an adventure. And more than an adventure, a fulfillment, a deep fulfillment. I remember a friend of mine that I met when I was a whole lot younger. Her husband was the head of the hospital in Salem, Oregon, and she was an artist, and she did drawings at Meyer and Frank's in Portland, Oregon. And we took my son, and she did a drawing of him, and it was beautiful. And she and I established a connection, and she mentored me, one of the many people along the way who mentored me. And I went to her home and looked at her art, and she said, you know, when my children were, she said, I began doing art and creating and loving it, and it was so powerful and so amazing. And she had visitation, she said, to guide her. She was very deeply Catholic woman, very, very devout is the word I'm looking for. And she said, you know, suddenly she's having all these children, and she is receiving her creativity through, she believes, the inspiration of John, of the Gospel according to John, that he is the one that's guiding her in her painting. And now she's got all these kids, and so she said, I made an agreement. I said, I'll put this on hold until my children are raised. And when my children are raised, and I am in the place where I'm able, I will then come back to my brushes, I'll come back to my studio, and I'll begin to paint again. Well, when she did, it had all the wisdom of those years of her children growing, and her family unfolding, and all the phases she'd gone through, and her own devotion and her own spiritual awakening. And suddenly she was producing paintings that were just over the moon. She painted one of the, did murals on one of the major bank buildings in downtown Portland. She became quite recognized in her profession, and the work was alive and beautiful and luminous. And she said, I was afraid that the spiritual illumination would not come back when I picked up my brushes again. But she said, no, it was more than it had ever been, more than I could ever have dreamed. Just that appreciation of a time when now was the time to express what had been woven and weaving itself in her through all that time, and everything that she lived through, and everything that had gone on. How brave to put it on hold, and how brave to pick it up again and allow herself to move in the direction of her own leading. The whole universe is on your side. We've been conditioned in our culture to think of life as beginning with birth and moving downhill inexorably toward death. This is the great lie, said Butterworth, that we must erase from our consciousness. Life does not grow old. Life does not deteriorate. Life does not die. Life is an eternal, dynamic, flowing process. It's true that for each of us, life is consciousness, and we're as old or as young as we think we are. The important thing is to keep alive as long as we live. It's a commitment to grow onward rather than simply to grow old. You don't grow old. When you stop growing, you are old. Isn't that a powerful statement? You don't grow old. Living a certain number of years is nothing to brag about. What matters is how you lived it. But even more important, he said, is what are you reaching for now? We're not reaching for something. And I'm not talking about steps on the ladder to great success, but what is it that's emerging? Steve, your music is getting stronger and stronger. Your life is branching out in ways that are amazing. And some of us are just trying to figure out where we are. And some of us have challenges that we're looking into the face of. And yet, can I imagine that each and all of those are fuel for growth? Are we saying we should live forever? He said, no. Length of years is not important. Quality of life is what counts. Deep from within the recesses of our being, there is always that which whispers, I am, I always was, I always will be. I am, I always was, and I always will be. Stay in the flow of life no matter what the years may say. If you flow with life, every day will be a fascinating challenge, full of adventure, or a dirge, or the digging deeper of a rut. My age is none of my business. I am as I have always been, he said, in the flow of life. I like it. It was good for me to study him and to entertain this. It was good for me. I needed to hear it. I needed not to try to conjure it myself. I needed to hear it. I needed the teachings. It's one of the reasons we come together and connect the dots. I need the teachings. They don't just run on a steady course. I need the teachings to remind me of the most important things. And it's why it's a privilege for me to do this. How many Sundays must we be at now? When was that? June? July? When it was 5,000 something? Who would do that? Except that I want this. I never stop being hungry for truth. I never stop wanting to know more truth that feels alive in me, that I can reach into and feel into and allow to be born in me again. I'm so grateful that we do this together. And it's not a matter of whether I can say it the way I wanted to say it or even phrase it the way that would be the best way to phrase it. It's that just visiting the ideas do something to us. And when that happens, everything comes alive with a different texture. And when it doesn't, we do have the wisdom to know that it will, or that it can, because obviously it's not over yet. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. We're grateful for your presence. We're grateful for your support of our ministry when you bring yourself to church, whenever that is, no matter how silly I am or how it doesn't make any sense out there where you are. I'm so grateful that you bring yourself back and connect with us in a way that makes such a difference for us and hopefully for you in the end. And so for your love offerings, for your gifts, for the ways in which you support us, send us a note. Tell us you're getting something from Sunday mornings or Tuesday night or whenever you watch. Send us a note. Send us a little something that says, I'm praying with you, or I'm thinking about you, Unity Skagit Valley. And know that we're returning that blessing to you. So in blessing our offering today, we do so with gratitude, and we are so very, very blessed. With a breath, take that breath. I give joyfully and easily, for God is my source, and abundance is my nature. And so it is.
Thank you for your love and more. Gifts untold, shelter from the cold. When I'm feeling sad or lonely, you let me know I'm not the only one who's ever been here. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for.
Yay. Because it's difficult for us to do the peace song when we're few in number, what I'd love to do is create the circle, and let's do the prayer for protection in the circle holding hands today. Shall we? Yeah. Do it different. You can make music behind it if you wanted to. You could just do a little strum behind it, a little strumming thing. I'm coming, I'm coming. I can't bend. There. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yes, and so it is. Thank you all for being here.